Yo. 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 Where the whole caravan going? Hold up, champ. Champ, hold up 1 second. Champ, were you and Pap sprinting off to light the sidewalk on fire? Y'all better be jogging y'all whole entire situation straight into a divorce filing office. What? What in the world? Y'all out here looking real starched. Y'all out here looking real weathered. It's your man Trey Vaughn. Vaughn versus everybody. And if you just walked into this whole storyline blindfolded and confused, allow me to catch you up quick, because Papoose and Claressa Shields was caught outside again. Yes. Caught outside. And Claressa brought the whole braid pattern back. Ray Charles Champ is back in the building at full volume. Wild business. There's a rainbow in the driveway. He filed the paperwork and then he flipped the paperwork. Wild business. Ray Charles Champ is back in the building with the shades on. Reckless business. But they walking a lot and they saying almost nothing. What in the world is going on? Y'all got some fires to put out, don't you? Because Ray J. Dunn ran his whole grown man mouth on national radio and Miss Shenika, the same Miss Shenika, just went out and did a whole entire follow-up interview about the interview she already gave you. Wild business. Ray J out here running that grown man mouth. Cue Exhibit A, wild business. Ray J basically said the loudest thing anybody has said about this whole boxing card in weeks. He said the biggest name on the undercard, the biggest name on the entire show before the professionals even lace up, is himself and Orlando Brown. Oh. And I hate to be the one to say it out loud, but I don't think Tashiki, or Tashunika, or whatever you want to call her, and I don't think Big Lex is bigger than Orlando Brown and Ray J. Talk your business, Ray. And even though those two go on as the last fight before the real boxing kicks in, I feel like Orlando and Ray J are bigger than the actual professional main event. That means we the headliners. But they the headliners at height. And that's a fact. The Zeus card, the celebrity card, is running the whole show on August 15th. And they not going to sit here and lie to you. The undercard is the show. The undercard is the whole reason people are logging in. To the point where he pairing his own fight side by side with the Tashiki, Grossos, Big Lex situation. And they not thinking about your fight after your fight with Nanny McPhee reboot. They gonna be somewhere in the back lit up like a Christmas tree, zooped out of their minds, sipping Henny like it's Kool-Aid while you fighting for your entire legacy in the ring versus Steve Irwin's grown cousin. Wild business. Never forget, the same lady who asked you that $1 million question, the one that started every viral clip you've seen this week, she doing another interview about the first interview. But before we play the remix, let's remember the original that broke the internet in half. I'm done boxing. Can I ask you a real question? Because I have never been here before. How much longer are you willing to be in a relationship with somebody's husband? What? What? You ain't had no smoke that day, champ. Pap ain't had no smoke that day. Pap can sit up in a car by himself and rap to 50. He rapping to himself. 50 Cent don't hear a single syllable of the freestyle. Pap is out there sitting in a Range Rover about to make his own insurance premium hit the moon just for the sake of a bar he wrote in the shower. Wild business. Nobody knows what's about to happen. Final Destination could clock in for a shift at any moment. He risking his whole life just to rap to himself in traffic. Reckless business. But Pap ain't got no bars for Miss Shenika. He don't got no verses for Ray J either. You had the whole arm strength to reach across 1,000 miles of internet and smack Alicia Bumgardner for running her mouth on a live stream. But that lady looked you in your face, in your zip code, with the microphone, and asked you the real question. Cue the champ suddenly getting hands with Alicia for way less. Wild business. I love that. That was cinema. You can put your hands on that lady. But you can't get in front of a mic when the mic is standing 3 feet away. Now this same interviewer, the same Miss Shenika, Dunn went and did an interview about the interview. She remixed her own moment. She dropped a director's cut of her own viral clip. Usually I don't do this on the channel, but I'ma slide you the preview of the remix real quick. Now, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I got another real question for you. Wild business. You and Pap walking down this sidewalk looking starched. I don't know where y'all headed. I just know it's giving starched. It's giving weathered. It's giving primitive. It's giving all of the things, man. It's giving too much walking. It's giving not enough talking. And I'll tell you exactly why y'all ain't got no energy for these people. Miss Shenika is stationed in Atlanta. Shout out to Young Jock and the whole crew, but that radio station is planted in Atlanta. And you might be back in Atlanta one day, champ. You might need them for a favor one day. That kind of business. Ray J is somebody who's gonna be right there in the same building on August 15th, breathing the same air. And we all know Ray J is supposed to be Suge Knight's nephew, or Suge Knight's godson, or however that whole family tree is set up. Pap ain't got no energy for that either. He know exactly what time it is when it come to red bandanas. It'll be a whole box of Crayola on his neck. It'll be the whole crayon aisle on his case. Pap would be looking like Uncle Kool-Aid trying to jump in the mix. You want some of this, old man? Nope. Not today. Reckless business. He know better than to swing in that direction. He beefing with 50 Cent, and 50 don't even know they beefing. 50 making stars shows, movies, business empires. Pap making bars in a Range Rover. The chance of 50 and Pap being in the same building at the same time is roughly the same odds as me winning Powerball on my lunch break. Wild business. When Ray Charles Champ put her hands on Alicia Bumgardner, she was able to do that because that was the rare moment where they were in the same building. Before that, Alicia wasn't around Champ like that. Alicia wasn't in her space. Alicia wasn't at the same events. And now, Alicia is banned. That's the trick. You can put your hands on somebody you already banned. You don't have to worry about seeing them again. You don't have to worry about the follow-up. You already made sure the follow-up never happens. Wild business. But it's your man Trayvon. Vaughn versus everybody. And the whole moral of today's story on this channel is really, really simple. These are two opportunists. That's it. That's the whole show. That's the whole album. All that back and forth talking they be doing. All them subs, all them freestyles, all them shady captions on Instagram. That's opportunist business. He won a rap about how he put his hands on Easy the Block Captain, a whole grown man who he had an entire therapy room agreement with about his wife. He knew that man was around his wife. He signed off on it. Then he came home one day, opened his eyes wide, and realized the man had juiced his wife too well. He didn't know the man was gonna go that hard. He thought it was gonna be light lemonade. Instead the man was out there making grape juice, papaya juice, cranberry cocktail, whole entire Tropicana cooler. He went too crazy on that man's wife. So Papoose put his hands on him and now Pap won a rap about it on every hook, every bridge, every verse, every ad-lib. Rap 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 rap. Where the Ray J bars at, though? Where the Suge Knight commentary at, though? Where the Miss Shenika response track at, though? Where's that flow? Reckless business. Champ smacked Alicia across the internet. Miss Shenika asked her the real question with her own 2 feet on the ground, with the microphone in her hand, with the cameras rolling. Where was the smack there? Where was the reach there? Where was the reaction there? Because both of them, only want the opportunity if the window is closed. If they know there's no counterswing coming, that's when they active. That's when they got courage. When Miss Shenika closed that window, when Miss Shenika asked that real question and didn't give her any exit door, didn't give her any escape hatch, didn't give her any clapback space, the champ went silent. That's opportunist business. Wild business. It's your man Trayvon. Vaughn versus everybody. And we ain't even done unpacking this Ray J piece, because let me tell you something else Ray J did that nobody wants to talk about. Ray J said, on record, that the promoters put him and Orlando on the last celebrity fight slot on purpose. The last one before the professionals. That's not a coincidence. That's not a favor. That's not luck. That's positioning. That's the promoters saying, out loud, we know who the audience actually came to see. And that audience is not booking pay-per-views for the professional undisputed championship. They booking pay-per-views to see Ray J and Orlando Brown throw hands on Zeus. That is the entire market speaking with its wallet. Wild business. And Pap? Pap didn't respond. Pap didn't clap back. Pap didn't drop a bar. Pap didn't drop a caption. Pap didn't drop a subliminal. Because Ray J is right there, in the same building, on the same card, on the same weekend. Pap knows exactly where Ray J is gonna be. That's the whole thing. Pap only got smoke for people who are already out of the room. Pap only got bars for opponents who already left the country. Reckless business. Pap will rap about Easy the Block Captain because Easy is not in the studio. Pap will rap about 50 Cent because 50 Cent don't listen to Papoose songs. Pap will rap about therapists and juice and betrayal because none of those people are booking studio time next to him. But Ray J, standing in the same tunnel on August 15th, Suge Knight adjacent, camera ready, mic ready? Sudden silence. Wild business. Same energy with Champ. Same exact energy. Champ smacked Alicia because Alicia was already banned. Alicia was already blocked. Alicia already couldn't get access. That's the safest smack in celebrity history. That's a smack with zero consequences. That's a smack where the counterpunch was already handled by security. But when Miss Shenika, real name Shenika, all 5 feet nothing of her, walked into the same building, walked into the same room, walked into the same interview and asked the real question, the answer was a walk-off. The answer was body language. The answer was a mumble. The answer was let me take another sip of this water so I don't have to answer. Wild business. Reckless business. Grown business. And that's the pattern. That's the whole channel of information you needed today. The pattern is opportunity, not principle. The pattern is safe smoke, not real smoke. The pattern is loud bars for absent enemies and quiet whispers for present ones. That's what it is. It's your man Trey Vaughn. Vaughn versus everybody. And once you see the pattern, you cannot unsee the pattern. Every time Pap opens his mouth from this day forward, you gonna check the room first. You gonna say, who's in this building? Because if the person he attacking is not in the building, you already know the game. You already know the recipe. You already know the trick. And if the person is in the building, watch the tempo change. Watch the volume drop. Watch the eyes go somewhere else. That's the fingerprint. That's the signature. Wild business. Now let me back this up with a little bit more evidence, because this channel don't move on vibes. This channel moves on receipts. Ray J went on the podcast and said, quote, I feel like Orlando and Ray J bigger than they fight. End quote. That's not a hot take. That's a business observation. That's Ray J looking at the ticket sales, looking at the search traffic, looking at the pay-per-view splits, and saying, we the reason y'all clicked. And you know what? He might not be wrong. Because when you check the trending pages, when you check what people are actually talking about on group chats, when you check what your barbershop is arguing about on Saturday morning, it is not the professional main event. It is Ray J's shoulder. It is Ray J's hair. It is Ray J's rehearsal footage. It is Orlando's pre-fight interview. It is Big Lex's press conference face. That is what the internet is chewing on. Wild business. And Papoose is watching all of this while married to the professional main event. Papoose is watching his own wife's fight get overshadowed by the celebrity undercard. Papoose is watching Miss Shenika collect more clips out of one 12-second question than Papoose has collected out of his entire discography for the last 3 years. Papoose is watching Ray J trend harder than the champion he goes home with. And Papoose ain't got a single bar for any of it. Because none of them are safe targets. None of them are already banned. None of them are already out of the room. Reckless business. I'ma give y'all one more layer, because y'all deserve the whole cake. Let's talk about the walk. Let's talk about the actual walk. Because that walk that got posted, that walk down the sidewalk together, was not a walk of love. That was a walk of PR. That was a walk of damage control. That was a walk of we need one photo where we look normal. Because if you break down the body language on that walk, They are not holding hands the way they used to hold hands. They are not laughing the way they used to laugh. They are not leaning in the way they used to lean in. They are walking parallel. They are walking like two colleagues heading to the same meeting. They are walking like two people who agreed on a photo op and now they gotta finish the block before they can breathe out. Wild business. Grown business. And let's not forget the braids. Because when a black woman goes back to protective styling, the whole entire community understands what that means. Protective styling means you turning inward. Protective styling means you not trying to look cute for anybody but yourself. Protective styling means you in survival mode. Protective styling means the salon chair is your therapist. So when Champ walked out with the braids back, that was a signal. That was a whole entire smoke signal. That was a whole bat signal in the sky. That was the Champ saying, I need to lock in on me right now. Ray Charles Champ is back because the Champ don't want to see nothing else except the mirror. Wild business. And I need y'all to comment down below on this one. Because I feel like some of y'all in the comments been begging to see Champ succeed. I feel like some of y'all in the comments been rooting for the fairy tale. I feel like some of y'all been sending prayers up for this relationship. And I respect the prayer. I respect the hope. I respect the belief. But sometimes the signals are loud enough that you gotta believe what you seeing. Sometimes the braids is not a fashion choice. Sometimes the braids is a boundary. Sometimes the walk is not a walk. Sometimes the walk is a rehearsal for the ending. Wild business. Meanwhile, over in the Papoose camp, the freestyles are gonna keep coming. That is a promise. Pap is gonna sit in the Range Rover this weekend and drop a whole verse about loyalty. Pap is gonna sit in the Range Rover and drop a whole 16 about the therapist. Pap is gonna sit in the Range Rover and drop a whole hook about Easy the Block Captain. And you know who Pap ain't gonna mention on that verse? Ray J. Miss Shenika. Suge Knight's family tree. The August 15th card. The whole undercard hierarchy. None of those things gonna show up on the Papoose freestyle. Because Papoose only rap about ghosts. Papoose only rap about people who cannot rap back. Because that is a rare, rare cultural moment. The greatest boxer of a generation, undefeated in the ring, was interviewed by a small market radio host from Atlanta, and the small market radio host landed the cleanest jab. That happened. That is the tape. That is the receipt. That is the footage. That is not up for debate. And Miss Shenika is out here doing a remix of her own moment because she know what she did. She know she caught a body on the microphone. She know she has the highlight of the whole promotional run. She know that when they cut the documentary about this whole era, her question is gonna be the cold open. Wild business. Meanwhile, Ray J is over here doing his laps of victory before the fight even happens. Because Ray J done already won. Ray J done already outsold the main event. Ray J done already trended harder than the professional card. Ray J done already booked Orlando Brown, secured the storyline, and printed himself into the promotional graphics as the last celebrity fight of the night. And when the promoters put you in that slot, that's not a slot. That's a coronation. That's the promoter saying, you the closer of the celebrity portion. You are the bridge to the professional portion. Everybody who tuned in for the funny stuff has to sit through your fight before they can get to champ. That's leverage. That's positioning. That's power. Grown business. And Pap don't say a word about none of it. Pap don't post about it. Pap don't rap about it. Pap don't tweet about it. Pap don't caption about it. Because Pap knows. Pap always knows. Pap is a strategist. Pap is a tactician. Pap picks his enemies like a chess player. And Ray J is not on his chessboard. Ray J is on somebody else's chessboard with a much bigger family tree. Reckless business. Let me pull the camera back one more time for y'all, because I feel like we still not seeing the whole picture. This whole situation, the walk, the braids, the silence, the interview about the interview, the Ray J commentary, the Suge Knight subtext, the 50 Cent shadow, the Easy the Block Captain history, the Alicia Bumgardner smack, the therapist backstory, the divorce filing rumors, all of it, is happening because two very public people made a very public choice, and the public is now doing what the public does. The public is watching. The public is measuring. The public is comparing. The public is scoring. And the public score right now, respectfully, is not looking friendly. Wild business. Champ is a legend in her sport. That's not up for debate. Papoose is a legend in his lane. That's also not up for debate. But legend status don't shield you from public scoring. Legend status don't shield you from viral questions. Legend status don't shield you from Miss Shenika, from Ray J, from 50 Cent, from Remy, from the whole entire barbershop of the internet. And that's the lesson of today's whole entire episode. Legend status is a starting line. It is not a finish line. And you can lose the public score even while you're winning the record. Grown business. Let me also touch on something that has been sitting in the back of my mind all week. The timing. The timing of all of this. Because timing tells you everything. Timing tells you when a story is a coincidence and when a story is a script. The divorce filing rumors show up. The braids come back. The silent walk gets posted. Ray J drops the comments. Miss Shenika drops the remix interview. All of that in the same 10-day window. That is not a coincidence. That is a promotional cycle. That is a heat cycle. That is the algorithm being fed on a schedule. And whether Champ and Pap are cooperating with the cycle or being crushed by it, the cycle is running on time either way. Wild business. And I gotta give Ray J his flowers real quick, because Ray J understands the cycle better than anybody. Ray J has been in the industry long enough to know that you do not fight the cycle. You surf the cycle. You ride the wave. You put yourself in the frame every single day of promotional week. Ray J is booking podcasts. Ray J is booking interviews. Ray J is releasing rehearsal clips. Ray J is releasing training videos. Ray J is releasing shoulder updates, hair updates, weight updates, mindset updates. Ray J is running a full media war room out of his own phone. And that is why Ray J is winning the pay-per-view narrative before a single punch has been thrown. Grown business. Meanwhile, Papoose is running a media strategy from the year 2007. Papoose is dropping freestyles on Instagram Reels like it is still the mixtape era. Papoose is talking about people who are not in the room. Papoose is naming enemies who are not on the promotional card. Papoose is running a war that ended before the podcasts even existed. And when your media strategy is stuck in 2007 and your wife's promotional cycle is happening in 2026, you're gonna get outmaneuvered. That is what is happening in real time. Reckless business. And Champ, respectfully Champ, is caught in the middle of two media eras. Champ is trying to run a modern pay-per-view promotional cycle while married to a media strategy that expired around the time of the Rockefeller breakup. And that is not a shot at Papoose. That is a genuine observation. Papoose is a mixtape legend. Papoose is a lyricist. Papoose is a bar-for-bar historian. But the modern cycle does not reward lyricism. The modern cycle rewards frequency, angle, and access. And Ray J is running frequency, angle, and access. Because they are running the modern cycle and everybody else is running the old cycle. That is the difference. That is the whole difference. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Grown business. Now let me get to the part of the video that y'all been waiting for. The receipts. Because I never come to y'all with a story without the receipts. Ray J's exact quote, on record, on the podcast, was that the biggest celebrity undercard is his fight with Orlando. His exact words. And when you have a Ray J walk into a room and say, out of his own mouth, that his fight is bigger than the other celebrity fights on the card, you have to respect that. Because Ray J is not a small name. Ray J is a decades-long name. Ray J is a Kardashian-era name. Ray J is a Whitney-era name. Ray J is a Suge Knight family tree name. Ray J has been in the industry longer than most of the fighters on the card have been alive. So when Ray J speaks on positioning, you listen. Wild business. And Miss Shenika, respectfully, ran a clinic on that interview. Miss Shenika was in the seat. Miss Shenika had the microphone. Miss Shenika had the poise. Miss Shenika had the delivery. Miss Shenika landed the question with zero warm-up. She did not lead with fluff. She did not lead with softball. She did not lead with the standard press tour choreography. She said, straight up, I have never been here before, and I need to ask you a real question. And that framing right there, that framing was masterful. Because that framing removed every excuse. That framing removed every escape. That framing removed every redirect. Champ could not say, that's a disrespectful question. Champ could not say, that's out of pocket. Champ could not say, that's a setup. Because Miss Shenika humanized herself first. Miss Shenika made herself the vulnerable one first. And then she landed the jab. That is technique. That is professional grade interview technique. Reckless business. And the interview about the interview? That's Miss Shenika understanding her own moment. That's Miss Shenika understanding that the clip is bigger than the interview. That's Miss Shenika understanding that in the modern cycle, you do not let a viral moment breathe on its own. You feed it. You extend it. You loop it. You remix it. You give the algorithm a reason to keep pushing it. And Miss Shenika did exactly that. Miss Shenika understood that her 12-second question had become a cultural moment and she went back on air to extend the shelf life of that moment. That is media literacy. That is craft. That is grown business. And I want to close with this. I want to close with a question for the audience. And I want y'all to really sit with this question before you answer in the comments. The question is this. If Champ and Papoose walked down the same sidewalk 1 year ago, would that walk have looked the same? Would the walk have felt the same? Would the walk have sounded the same? Or is the walk we saw this week a completely different walk from the walk we would have seen 12 months ago? Because that is the real receipt. The walk is the receipt. The silence is the receipt. The body language is the receipt. And the receipt is telling us that something has shifted. Something has changed. Something has cooled. Something has cracked. Wild business. And whether that shift ends in a divorce filing, or a reconciliation announcement, or a public statement, or a private silence, the shift is real. And you deserve to hear that from somebody who actually watches these tapes frame by frame. You deserve to hear that from somebody who actually breaks the body language down. You deserve to hear that from somebody who is not out here selling you a fairy tale. Because on this channel, we do not sell fairy tales. We sell footage. We sell receipts. We sell patterns. We sell the truth of what the tape is showing us. Grown business. Now let me hit you with a segment I've been saving. I've been saving this segment because I did not want to drop it until y'all was locked into this whole conversation. But we deep enough now. So here we go. Let's talk about Remy Ma. Yes, Remy Ma. Because you cannot tell the Papoose and Claressa Shields story without acknowledging Remy Ma is sitting in the corner of the frame the entire time. Remy Ma is the ghost of every headline. Remy Ma is the invisible referee. Remy Ma is the person whose name keeps floating up in the comments section every single time we mention Papoose. And that is not an accident. That is history refusing to be erased. Wild business. Because before there was Papoose and Claressa Shields, there was Papoose and Remy Ma. There was the fairy tale wedding. There was the prison letters. There was the loyalty saga. There was the ride or die narrative. There was the whole entire Terror Squad chapter. And when Papoose walked into a new chapter with Claressa Shields, he did not just walk into a new relationship, he walked into a comparison. And the comparison is brutal. Because Remy Ma is a bar-for-bar lyricist. Remy Ma is a rap legend in her own right. Remy Ma has her own resume, her own catalog, her own culture check. So when Papoose is dropping freestyles in a Range Rover now, the audience is comparing those freestyles to the Remy Ma verses. And that comparison is not favorable. Reckless business. And Claressa Shields, respectfully, Claressa Shields is one of the greatest boxers ever, period, but Claressa Shields is not a rapper. Claressa Shields does not have a discography that stands next to Remy Ma. Claressa Shields does not have the Terror Squad co-sign. Claressa Shields does not have the New York bar-for-bar cultural stamp. And that is not a knock on Claressa Shields. That is math. Claressa Shields is elite in her lane. Remy Ma is elite in her lane. But when Papoose left Remy Ma's lane and walked into Claressa Shields' lane, he walked into a lane where he does not have a lyrical partner. He walked into a lane where he is the loudest voice in the room by default. And that is a lonely place for a rapper to be. Grown business. Let me also drop one more receipt on this Ray J angle. Because Ray J said something else on that podcast that has been overlooked, and it is important. Ray J said, and I am paraphrasing here, that the promoters recognize where the actual attention is on the card. Ray J understands attention economics. Ray J understands that in 2026, attention is the currency, not talent. Attention is the currency, not skill. Attention is the currency, not lineage. And Ray J has spent his entire career building attention capital. And now, on August 15th, Ray J is going to cash that attention capital in against a professional pay-per-view undercard, and he is going to walk out of that arena as the #1 trending name of the weekend. Whether he wins the fight or loses the fight. Because Ray J is not fighting for the belt. Ray J is fighting for the timeline. And the timeline is his. Wild business. Now, let me address one more piece of this puzzle, because I want to make sure we cover the whole board. Let's talk about Claressa Shields' fight itself. The professional fight. The main event that this whole promotional cycle is technically supposed to be about. Claressa Shields is stepping into that ring on August 15th to defend a legacy that is undefeated, undisputed, and untouchable. Claressa Shields is the greatest woman boxer of her generation. Claressa Shields has Olympic gold. Claressa Shields has world titles across multiple weight classes. Claressa Shields has done things in the sport of boxing that had never been done before. That is real. That is documented. That is the tape. Wild business. And yet, when we open the comment sections this week, we are not talking about Claressa Shields' skill. We are not talking about Claressa Shields' training camp. We are not talking about Claressa Shields' fight IQ. We are talking about the braids. We are talking about the walk. We are talking about the marriage. We are talking about Miss Shenika. We are talking about Ray J. We are talking about 50 Cent. We are talking about Papoose. Claressa Shields, the greatest, is being pushed to the background of her own promotional cycle. And that is a tragedy. That is a genuine tragedy. Grown business. So the walk, the silent walk on the sidewalk that started this whole video, is not just a walk. The walk is a confession. The walk is Claressa Shields and Papoose walking through the aftermath of a promotional cycle that they did not win. The walk is Claressa Shields and Papoose walking with the knowledge that Miss Shenika, Ray J, and 50 Cent are running the timeline of their own fight week. The walk is Claressa Shields and Papoose walking in silence because there is nothing to say. Because the tape has already spoken. Because the receipts have already been printed. Because the comment sections have already been filled. Reckless business. And I want to close with a final thought for the audience. I want y'all to think about this. Because I think this is the real lesson of the whole entire situation. In the modern era, the loudest name is not the most talented name. The loudest name is the most consistent name. The loudest name is the most present name. The loudest name is the most strategic name. And Miss Shenika, Ray J, and 50 Cent are running loud, present, and strategic campaigns. Claressa Shields is running a talented campaign. Papoose is running a nostalgic campaign. And in this specific cycle, in this specific week, in this specific August, the loud and strategic campaigns are winning. That is the receipt. That is the tape. That is the truth. Grown business. And let me leave y'all with this before we ride off. Because Claressa Shields, Papoose, Ray J, and Miss Shenika are not going anywhere. This story is not a one-week story. This story is a whole season. This story got episodes we have not even filmed yet. Every time Claressa Shields steps outside, the cameras are on. Every time Papoose opens the Range Rover, the microphones are on. Every time Ray J walks into a podcast studio, the timeline is on. Every time Miss Shenika sits in an interview chair, the internet is on. So keep the tab open. Keep the notifications on. Keep the volume up. Because this Claressa Shields and Papoose chapter is nowhere near the last page. Ray J is nowhere near his last podcast. Miss Shenika is nowhere near her last question. And 50 Cent is nowhere near his last comment. Wild business. Grown business. Reckless business. Alright, I feel like I said what I said. I feel like I made my case. I feel like I put my evidence on the table. It's your man Trey Vaughn. Vaughn versus everybody. And I want y'all to do me a favor. I want y'all to drop a comment below and tell me one thing. Which one of these opportunist patterns you seen the most this year? Was it the safe smoke pattern? Was it the absent enemy freestyle pattern? Was it the smack only when they banned pattern? Was it the walk of PR pattern? Tell me in the comments which one you seen the most, because I feel like that's the real conversation. And I'll be reading every single one of them tonight. Wild business. And I'm surprised. I am genuinely surprised how much Champ, respectfully Champ, is starting to look more and more like the last name is not Shields, it's Charles. It's Ray Charles Champ, in full effect, back in the building, with the braids in, with the shades on, with the silence turned all the way up. Wild business. Reckless business. Grown business. It's your man Trey Vaughn. Vaughn versus everybody. We stepping off the corner. Come back tomorrow, because I already got the next chapter locked and loaded, and trust me, this Ray J piece is only the appetizer. The main course is coming. And the main course is gonna answer the one question none of y'all been brave enough to ask out loud. But we gonna ask it. Wild business. Peace.